I grew up in a small town in central England, about 2.5 hours north of London. I came to Australia in 1999 as a backpacker. I'm not sure whether it was always the plan, but eventually I decided not to go home. I guess the trigger for me staying here was being offered a role at Fortress Resistors back in 2000. They offered to sponsor me to stay in Australia. I stayed for a few years longer, and then eventually I applied for my permanent residency, and I'm still here. When people ask about resistors, most people remember them as those small little devices with coloured rings around them that we used to do experiments with in the science class. And we build resistors too, it's just that our resistors tend to be the size of this room. They're used to dissipate an awful lot of energy and turn that energy into heat. The reason for dissipating that energy, it's varied. It could be that we're protecting a transformer or a generator from an earth fault or a power line falling down. It could be that we're dissipating the energy when a train comes to a stop at a station. But whatever the reason is, our resistors turn that energy into heat and do that safely. I started at Fortress as an order entry clerk and did that for a few months. Eventually found myself in sales. That grew into a business development role. And around about 2006, I was given responsibility for the resistor part of the organisation. In 2009, the company was purchased by the Telema Group, and that's when I was given the opportunity to take over as the Managing Director of Fortress Resistors. We have a lot of people at Fortress who have been here for quite a long time. Stan is our longest serving employee. He's been here over 25 years. He's currently 78 and still contributing to the team.
Well, when we first started, we used to make pretty small enclosures and small sort of equipment, but now it's just huge enclosures and everything's got a lot bigger and a lot more flasher, and we use a lot more stainless steel now than what we did before. Yeah, it's definitely improved, but there's been a lot of changes. Everything's for the better, yeah. As long as the mining industry and there's money about, well, we're pretty busy.
We're proud of the commitment that a lot of our employees show to the company. We have people that have left the company and come back again because they found that it really was a good place to work after all. So we've been very happy to have some of those people back because it's something that we're proud of, and it helps tell a story about how good it is to work at Fortress. We all live in the environment. It's critical that we do what we can to protect the environment. I think it's something that companies as well as individuals need to consider in their operations. So the drive towards renewable energy in the Australian economy has not always been led by the federal government, but certainly the state governments are on board. The targets that they've set have led to the development of a large number of wind farms and solar farms. Victorian and South Australian governments in particular have driven that, and as a result of that we're looking at around about 25% of our products going into renewable energy applications. That's a big change from 10 years ago when almost all of our products went into mining, oil and gas and electricity distribution. We're very proud that we're an Australian manufacturer of resistor products. One of the questions that I sometimes get from customers is, so where do you make these resistors? And I can proudly say that we have a manufacturing facility in Melbourne where they are manufactured. We employ over 25 people in Melbourne, and that's something that we're very proud of. So we're looking to grow the business over the next 4 or 5 years by bringing in additional products from our sister companies within the Telema Group. In some cases that might be importing their products, but in a lot of cases it's looking at how we can manufacture that product here in Melbourne. That's going to be the driver for the development of the company and get involved in some really big train projects for Australian trains. That's been driven by the Victorian government choosing to mandate local content in those trains, something that we definitely support. This is about the first time in 40 years that a large contract like that has been let to an Australian manufacturer. So that's something that has really changed Fortress, and it's given us the opportunity to tender for further projects in the same industry. We had to do that first project and prove that we were capable of doing it before we could go to the other manufacturers and say, look, we can actually do this here now in Australia. Come and have a look at what we do here in Melbourne, and prove to them that we have the capabilities in place to support them on their journey. So those are going to be the drivers for this business over the next few years, and we're quite excited about what's in store for us.